Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And this video we're going to be putting the engine into Brad's Rx8. So the boys got the engine out last time. We had previously dynoed the car. If you haven't been up to speed we're up to, have a quick look. We've dynoed the stock engine, made 160 horsepower. The boys have pulled the engine out and they've just finished pulling all the wiring out of the engine bay. They've removed the power steering module, or the canister for it, so that we can make some room for the new turbo, because this one will be engineered with emissions test and everything, so we need the space, so that's the only reason we're moving that. I've finished the engine from upstairs, so I'm going to go and grab that. I'll drag that through and we'll start fitting it up. Oh, you got the engine in already? That's why to take a dump. You got the engine in and fitted. That's why you're on the big bucks. Alright, lift it up, show us what you've done. Alright, so you've got the engine mount bolted in. Yep. On the standard FD mounts here. Got an aftermarket mount there. So that's all in. Bolted up to the box. Machine the flange to run the dump pipe into. Well, that's good. Bad news is we've got a Series 2 box to put in it. So that gearbox is coming out. We managed to find a Series 2 box for him, and Brad's decided that was the best option. We didn't expect this to last too long at all, so the Series 2 box should last a lot longer. As you can see, plenty of room in there for activities. Come through to the back. Got the surge tank mounted up onto the rear bumper, so it'll have an in-tank pump. The factory pump in the tank will feed the surge tank, and then that'll have a whole new line run down the car through the flex fuel sensor and then up to feed the engine. Alright, so Jordan's got the engine in and mounted. We've got a fuel reg mounted. That'll be on the return side, so that was the old supply line that we've used for the return back to the surge tank. This is the little adapter that we've made for the throttle body. That just gives us a bit more room for getting in here, rather than have the throttle body here and then have to run a cooler pipe out and around. It sort of makes it a straight entry through here to the throttle. You've got the box out for the power steering module, so we're going to make a little cover for that. Keep that all watertight, waterproof. Plenty of room for turbo and exhaust. Alright, where are you going to put the turbo?
Turbo up around here up top.
Yeah.
Right up here.
Alright, that'll be pretty straightforward. We'll have plenty of room for an airbox, cooler pipes, and possibly even put the battery, just move the battery back over to this side. Alright, I'll get out of the way and I'll let you keep going. Alright, Jordan's been on this for a couple of days now. Obviously engine's in. The where are you up to? Okay, you've got water lines for the radiator all modified. You've got a swirl pot made up. You've got battery mounted up in the front.
Relocated to the other side.
Oh yeah, so okay, battery's on the other side. We're going to run intercooler piping down through that side, come out there, come around the radiator. Just waiting for the turbo to turn up, and we'll keep plugging along. When it comes to the fuel system in an Rx8, when you're doing an upgrade like an REW swap or even turbocharging the original engine, the fuel tank setup is it's great in a standard form. It's a saddle type tank, so you've got one saddle sitting over on the driver's side, one saddle sitting over on the passenger side. Now, with the pump assembly sitting on the passenger side saddle, it relies on a siphon tube, which is all set up inside the original hangar to continuously pull fuel from the other saddle, so that you're not just using one side of the tank. Now that all works great. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's got its own little swirl pot that the pump sits in. It supplies ample fuel. Where it does become a real pain in the ass is when you try to put a bigger pump in there. Now I'll show you the original assembly, and we still keep the original pump in there, but I'll show you the assembly and what we've got. So this black hose is the siphon tube. Now that runs in the tank and over to the other saddle, which is on the driver's side of the car. Now what it does is it siphons, as the pump comes up, it creates a Venturi effect inside this little housing here, which is how it sucks the fuel in. Now the factory pump sitting in the swirl pot in here is really quite small, and it's ample for the fuel that's required for the stock engine. However, once you turbo the original engine or do an REW swap, this pump becomes too small, and you very quickly find that you start to run up, a couple of pounds of boost and you're out of fuel. Regardless of what size injectors you put in the engine, the pump simply can't supply the volume to the engine. So anyone who's modified one previously or bought one of the aftermarket accessories that mount a 525 or a 460 Warbro pump down inside the tank will know how much of a headache it is to get into here. It never really does quite fit properly. You end up, what you find is the pump is sort of up here, and you've got this tiny little bit of a connector to go from the pump to the outlet here. It's dodgy. There's other hangers which sort of mount the pump back down in the tank, but they sit like at a 45-degree angle as such, and it's just in this big open canister, so there's no swirl pot. That's all gone. You need to get a little TP Sync radium make it, which on your return side or on the pressure side out, it creates that little vacuum that you can suck the fuel back out of the other saddle. So what we've done is go a little bit against the whole. I mean, this putting fuel pumps in the tank has been something we've been doing for 20 odd years, and it's something that the factory cars manufacturers have been doing for probably close to 30 years. We've gone back to surge tanks purely because the tank's just not deep enough to actually allow us to get a decent sized pump in here. So I'll sit this one back up. Let's put this clip back on here, and I'll sit this back in, and we'll have a look at the surge tank arrangement. Now in standard setup, this the fuel system in the Rx8 is a deadhead system, meaning that it's internally regulated inside the little, in the fuel tank, in that little swirl pot. Now this fitting here went to this plastic hose here, and that went up to your fuel rails, and there was no return. So what we do now, having a surge tank, is we remove that. We'll now send fuel out of the pump to the surge tank. The surge tank overflow will come back into here, which is a fitting that we've added, and this that was the supply line to the engine is now the return from the regulator, and that'll run back to the surge tank as well. Then we have a fourth line actually here, which will be our main supply, which will come from the pump that's in the surge tank, which we'll show you now. Okay, so there's a surge tank mounted up in behind the bumper bar. It looks fairly exposed when you look at it like that, but if we'll go to the other side, you'll see it actually sits behind a splash guard for the rear tyre, so there won't be any debris which will get up to it. And if you look at where the exhaust is going to run out, it's sort of running out in here. So once we get the exhaust back on, I'll show you how it is finished, but you can see there's plenty of room there, and it's up and out of the way. All the lines running up over the cross member, back into the tank here. The other thing is, being a larger pump, it's going to draw a lot more current, and the factory wiring is just not suitable for that kind of current. So moving up to the front of the engine, we've got the Series 2 box in now, so that will definitely last a lot longer than what the Series 1 box would last. Dump pipe is on, we're just waiting on a cat to come in, 3.5-inch catalytic converter, which will go in here. and then we'll plumb the air pump into the exhaust. Now, for clearance reasons, because it is getting engineered, it is a 4-inch oval, which then transitions into a 4-inch round up the top and a 4-inch round down here, with a reducer down to the 3.5-inch for the cat. Alright, so it's been about a week now on this thing, and you can see they progress pretty quickly once you start putting bits and pieces in. Jordan's got the turbo manifold finished up and the dump pipe, so you can see we've gone 4-inch round, then it goes into a 4-inch oval, and that just gives us clearance down either side of the manifold, clearance on the steering rack, steering column, as the engineer's going to be looking at that sort of stuff. Cooler pipes are all in, battery will remain up the front. Jordan's opted to keep the electric steering box cover there where the old ECU was. However, he's modified it just so we've got a bit of heat protection, so it basically doesn't melt the plastic really. It's now got a heat guard on it, and this is all aluminium, so that'll be secured there. Obviously it will get the normal thermal protection. It'll get a beanie on it. We'll wrap the pipe, the exhaust, the turbo manifold's already wrapped. Turbo wise, it's a Pulsar G40 1150, so it'll make plenty of power if you decide to turn it up at a later date. The car does have, or will be running flex fuel, so the option is there to make a lot of power later on. The engine's built for it. It's started. It's got 4 1650cc injectors. So yeah, it's got plenty of room left for him. Cooler, we've got a 500, 300 and 75mm thick cooler core. That's mounted up in the front, and obviously the cooler pipe's done to go up to the drive-by-wire throttle. Well, other than finishing off the exhaust, we're waiting for that cat. There's not a lot more that we can do. We do need to start pulling the intake and everything off it, so we can start wiring next. So yeah, might wrap it up there, and we'll get into the wiring, and in the next video I guess we'll fire it up. Alright, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to keep up to date with what we're doing, and drop a comment. Let us know what you're interested in seeing.